blah, 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 blah. In Chapter 5.2, we're going to take what we already know about ratios and we're going to expand it, apply it to new situations. So right now we know that a ratio is a comparison of two quantities. Well, there's a special kind of ratio called a rate, and a rate is just a comparison of two different types of quantities, two different units involved in this type of problem. And then there's a special kind of rate called a unit rate. And a unit rate is when you're comparing two things and the second number is 1. And there's some key words that tell you you're dealing with a unit rate. The words per, each, or every are your key words that you've got a unit rate. And then we have a few types of special unit rates. We have average speed, which is the comparison of distance to time. We have unit price, which is a comparison between cost and the number of units you're buying. And for our science friends, a special unit rate is density, which is a comparison between mass and volume. These are special unit rates because they're ones that we come across on a regular basis. Density we'll talk about specifically in Part 2 of our video. But for this section, we're just going to be talking primarily about unit price, average speed, and regular plain old unit rates. All right, let's talk about how to calculate unit rates. We're first going to write our rate in fraction form. Very comfortable way to work in mathematics. And then in a unit rate, the definition is we need 1 as the second number, or 1 in the denominator. Or we want to know how many students to one teacher. That's what we're trying to find out. Well, if I have 11 in the denominator and I want to simplify it to 1, I'm going to divide by 11. Whatever I do in the denominator, I'm going to do to the numerator, and 323 divided by 11 is 29.36. Great, but what does 29.36 mean? When you give your answer on a unit rate, you have got to include units, or your number doesn't mean anything, and your units are going to have two parts. All right, we have 29.36 students per teacher. That's what we just calculated. Notice the units of my answer have two parts, students, teachers, and we take that right from our original problem. And again, also notice the order. Students to teachers, students divided by the number of teachers, and the wording of your units of your answer, students per teacher. Order matters in ratios and rates. So now let's look at an average speed problem. Anything that's comparing distance to time is an average speed. And so we're going to start with our fraction form. Let's write our rate written as a fraction, 560 to 9 hours. Okay, and we all know that every fraction is a division problem, so you can show me that you're going to type 560 divided by 9 into your calculator, and then you're going to show me the result of that, so 62.22, but then you have to give that number meaning. 62.22 what? 62.22 miles per hour. Now notice these units we can abbreviate because it's a real common one. We use it all the time. MPH, miles per hour. Students per teacher, not something we talk about on a regular basis, so we wouldn't want to write 29.36 SPT. Nobody would know what we're talking about. But MPH, that's very common. You can use the abbreviation if it's appropriate. So go ahead and try the next two on your own. Please show me the rate written as a fraction, show me the division problem you're going to use to calculate the unit rate, and give me the units in your answer. All right, let's look at some story problems, our favorite types of problems to work with. Mickey can type 120 words in 3 minutes. How many words can she type per minute? When you're working with a story problem and unit rates, please, please, please pay attention to the type of unit rate that they're asking for, words per minute. That's going to tell you exactly how to set up your problem. since we're being asked for words per minute, that means we're looking at the rate, words over minutes, words per minute. Okay, so we're going to set up our fraction form, 120 to 3. Numerator divided by denominator, 120 divided by 3, and we get 40. 40 what? We have to give that number meaning, and we're going to write that in a complete sentence. Okay, Mickey can type 40 words per minute. Now I could have also written 40 words for every minute, 40 words for each minute. They all mean the same thing, but 40 words per minute is more comfortable. All right, let's look at the second question. Jeff can type 30 words in half a minute. How many words can he type in 1 minute? Okay, so again, we're going to start with our ratio of words to minutes. And we have half a minute, so I'm going to write that as 0.5. Okay, order matters, words to minutes, 30 over 0.5. We are going to divide by the denominator so we can get how much per 1 minute. So divided by 0.5, that's what we're going to type in the calculator. And we end up with 60. 60 what? What does it mean? 60 words per minute. Okay, and then you're going to finish it out with a nice, beautiful sentence. And then I have a little bit of a challenge for you. I want you to figure out a different method for calculating how many words per minute. If I know that I can type 30 words in half a minute, what's a different strategy I could use other than just 30 divided by 0.5? All right, here's a very common type of problem as well as a very real-life type of situation. Jamie can buy a 15-ounce jar of peanut butter for $2.19 or a 20-ounce jar for $2.78. Which is a better buy? Well, it makes sense in this situation to look at our unit price. Unit price. Remember, unit price is the comparison of cost to unit. So it makes sense here to look at how much money we're going to pay per ounce, because if we want the better buy, we want to pay less money for each ounce that we're going to get. So we're going to look at that comparison between the two jars. All right, now I know many of you can reason your way to which one is the better buy, and that's fabulous when you're out there at the grocery store, but I want you to show me proof. So I want you to show me the math here behind your decision. Now also, make sure that you're not being fooled by the order that these numbers appear in the problem. Notice that the 15 ounce comes before the $2.19, but if we're going to look at unit price, the $2.19 is our cost. That needs to go in the numerator. So just be careful. Don't let that trip you up. All right, so you're going to write down the division problem, type it in your calculator, get a great decimal on your calculator, but please tell me what it means. And remember, we're talking about money here. So how do we write money? So if we look at the 15-ounce jar, I get 0.146. Well, what does that mean? Well, that's approximately 15, or excuse me, yeah, we'd round it up to 15. It's approximately 15 cents per ounce. So we can write that as 15 hundredths of a dollar, $0.15 per ounce. Or you could write that 15 cents per ounce. So please be very careful about what you're using for your units, and don't write for me that it's 0.15 cents per ounce, because that's not right. Okay, it's not a part of a cent, it's a part of a dollar. So we use 0.15 and the dollar symbol, or 15 cents without the decimal. Okay, so be careful about how you're recording your units. All right, when we finish with all the math, it looks like for a 15-ounce jar, we're going to pay about 15 cents per ounce. The 20-ounce jar is about 14 cents per ounce. So you're going to conclude and you're going to write me a great sentence. You're going to tell me that the 20-ounce jar is a better buy because it costs less per ounce. Less per ounce is what we're looking for if we're looking for the better buy. Okay, now here's your bonus question for this problem. What if I divided 15 by $2.19. What would my units be for that number? Figure it out. Share it with me in class. All right, in this situation, again, I want the better buy, so I can go to my unit price strategy, $1.98 for a 5-pack compared to $6.20 for a 15-pack. I can do $1.98 divided by 5. I can do $6.20 divided by 15 and get some great numbers. I would like you to figure out what they are. Give me the units. And then I want you to come up with a second type of strategy in which I could compare these two ratios, these rates, and decide which one is the better buy. Find me another strategy.